Do you remember Job? What do you remember of Job? Story in the Bible, yes, but a man that we always associate with trials. Very seldom do you hear people talk about Job in a very positive way. Have you ever heard of someone talking about joyous Job or jolly Job? Not really, not often, because his story seems to be surrounded and framed in tragedy, in trial. And yet we need to think about Job in a different way, because it'll help us to think of our lives in a different way, so that when trials and hardships and trouble come our way, that we don't then feel like we are the sorrowing Job, or the Job who has gotten into a lot of trouble. Job had 5 values, things that meant a lot to him. Well, one of them was certainly his faith in God, his family, friends, fortune, and then feeling fit or health, just so that they'll all start with the same alphabetical level. Those were his 5 values. They were all important to him. And of course, the story goes that Satan comes before God and says, Job is enjoying life because you are so good to him. In fact, that one called faith, it'll drop away if you take the other away. God says, well, you want to try that out? I'll let you test him. God knew something about Job that Satan didn't know. And that is that Job, believing in God, was not dependent on having things go well in his life. It's like C.S. Lewis, who said, the person who has God and everything else does not have more than the person who has God only, without everything else. So here is Satan, and God allows him to go on the attack. And he takes away his fortune, takes away his family, and gives him friends? No. He gives him people who discourage him, who give him bad news, who speak negatively, accuse him, blame him. That's worse than having enemies. Job did not give up on God. Why not? And then, of course, Satan comes back to God and says, well, you've kept his health. He's still feeling fit. Take that away and the faith part will fall away as well. God says, be my guest. Try it out. God knew something about Job. Something about Job that surprised even Satan. He was allowed to take away his health. And Job had nothing except faith in God. Now, I do not praise Job for that, because how am I going to generate that kind of faith? How am I going to be able to stand up to what Job stood up to? What I notice is that Job, grieving, did not blame God. He continued in his grieving to remember the greatness of God, to extol the goodness of God. He continued to think about God in a very powerful and special way. And so instead of me praising Job, I want to praise God, because it seems to me that God is the big hero here who is able to relate to Job so meaningfully and capture Job's affection and loyalty and faithfulness. God is able to draw that out of Job because of God's greatness, so that when everything falls apart, God is still enough for Job. And today, I don't know what kind of experience you're going through that reminds you of all the troubles that Job went through. But this I know is that if you will allow this great and this good God to draw you into the kind of relationship with Him that supersedes circumstances. Yes, even feeling fit, even friends and family and good fortune and lots of possessions. If God should supersede all of that, so that when all that may be removed, you still have God and He is enough, your life will be as rich as Job's. Why don't you take on Job's slogan? He said, "Shall we not receive the good from God and not receive also adversity?" You're in God's hands. And today God is drawing you to Himself. Let Him do that. In that relationship, you will always be secure. My name is Ivan Blake. I'm Senior Pastor of the Fletcher Seventh-day Adventist Church. Our purpose is to lift Jesus up and to love people in. If you want to know more about our beliefs, our programs, and who we are and how you can worship with us, you can go to our website, and that is www.fletchersda.org. Remember, God is enough.